All right, we're back. All right. Man, I'd just like to say thank you, everybody, for taking the time to join. My name's Leon, and this is the Real Estate Lunchbox. And a little background on me. Again, I'm a real estate broker, investor located in Atlanta, Georgia. And I do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Our goal is really just to bring you up to speed with what's going on and how it affects the real estate market. And then we just talk smack. I just talk about everything and anything that just gets me interested in world politics, what's going on in local Atlanta politics, what's just going on overall. Yeah, you can please like, subscribe, follow for more content. Feel free to leave a comment if you're watching this in replay or even live. Your boy is here. And shoot, I am growing and reaching more and more people. And I'm always going to have this real my message is really going to be simple. Don't be stupid. No, it's not. But dude, I'm telling you, so much to do. Man, I love it. I love it. I love the fact that I'm streaming. I love streaming and just sharing everything and anything. I think sometimes we don't get enough people, even though there's a lot of voices out here. That's true. But there's not enough, in my opinion, people actually out here saying what needs to be said concerning real estate, concerning politics. One thing I hate is being boring, like doing boring stuff, bro. So I sit back and I see all these other guys out here in the real estate space. They post about the best way to sell a house. They post about 5 tools you need to know in order to move your property. I think it's better the ones that at least get out on the road and they show you the neighborhoods. And you wonder, Leon, why don't you do that? Because this is news, politics, culture, popular culture. We talk about business. When you join the Patreon, you get exclusives, and then also money moves. We talk about whether you're getting into wholesaling real estate or whether you're getting into creative real estate. I talk about all of that. Done a lot of these different real estate transactions and deals. So I do like to talk about them, and that's one reason why I put that out there for that Patreon. But let's get a little bit deeper into this, dude. When you like, subscribe, follow, we got another channel, Atlanta Property Lion, where we talk about all the happenings in Atlanta and stuff like that. News, drama, all that good stuff. Make you think about if you really want to buy in the city. And if you want to be an investor, where you want to invest in, we talk about those different things too. Right? And of course, I got my reaction channel, The Real Leon Duncan. The goal is we want to go ahead and talk about Atlanta. We want to talk about politics. I want people to leave more entertained and more smarter than what they were coming in. And yes, ChatGPT is smart, but there's some things I just learned that I can share. And I enjoy it, man. I enjoy it. Appreciate you guys showing up. If you're watching it live or even in replay, just leave a comment. Say, Leon, you suck. I'm going to tell you I don't care. You suck too. But I was sitting back yesterday, and I didn't plan on talking about this. Well, before we even jump into that, it's Monday. Got my coffee. I think I really wanted to talk about this because I thought it was just so interesting. And it's Monday, and Trump hasn't done this yet. I haven't seen any article, any news reports being released saying that, hey, he did this and da-da-da, it's done. Haven't yet, but we'll see. I'm keeping an eye out on the news feed because I'm curious to see. I'm just really curious to see if it does happen like they said it's going to happen. And what am I referencing? I'm referencing Donald Trump turning around and rescheduling cannabis. Yes. Now, we got this news alert that Donald Trump is looking to reschedule cannabis, and he's going to be doing it as soon as today. Now, I don't know if that's true. I was told it's true. I've seen them posted on multiple news channels that it would be today that he was signing an executive order taking cannabis from being a Schedule 1 drug, one drug to a Schedule 3 drug. Now, you don't know what that is. That's basically saying cannabis is like cocaine and crack and meth down to it's like a steroid and pharmaceutical that you can get across the counter. There's been a lot of speculation about this. People have said the reason it's been a fight to get it done is because what is it? The Democrats, I've heard the Democrats are really holding it back and holding it as something that they want to keep in their corner that they could do. But let's be for real. If the Democrats wanted to turn around and reschedule cannabis, they would have did it under Obama, but they didn't. They actually went ahead and addressed the LGBTQ situation, which I didn't know it was a situation until Obama, but obviously he said it was. If you get the concept, yes, I do lean a little bit more conservative. But this is an interesting issue to me because I'm not the type of conservative that believes that cannabis is just bad all around. No, I don't. I think it's just like anything else that you take. I mean, you turn around and you drink alcohol. I'll be for real. Alcohol has more of an effect than cannabis would ever have on you. And if you disagree with me, just leave a comment. Tell me what your thoughts are about cannabis. I'm curious to know what you think about the tree, But I do believe that that alcohol is more, that has more ramifications to you than cannabis does. And they never put alcohol as Schedule 1. Now, I had to start digging in there, and I'm going to do a little bit more on it because it's always been political. It's always been a political conversation. It's been Democrats, Republicans, conservatives against Democrats. The conservatives used it at one time to disband what they believed were the anti-wars back in the 70s, who didn't want them going into Vietnam. So Nixon went ahead and passed that law. And prior to that, they actually started attacking cannabis because migrants were using it, Mexican migrants and blacks in the South and all over were using it. Artists and entertainers and then it slowly started to come into mainstream. They said, "Oh no, we're not gonna have that happen." So they went ahead and then banned it. And but it's crazy. And then they turned around and made made alcohol legal and put all these steps in place with it. I could just imagine some type of church mother was sitting back saying, "I don't want Billy smoking that cannabis." That marijuana is making him go out of control. Now, granted, I'm not a believer in you just smoking stuff and just because these things have effect. I'm not going to stand here and say, well, cannabis is more natural from the ground, but I'm not going to stand here and say that you don't have a psychedelic effect. Yeah, you do. And the fact is that people should know the effects and they should take control of it and regulate it instead of putting every single man and woman caught with that Schedule 1 right now until he decides in jail. And I'm not talking about the traffickers. I'm talking about just the average users. It wasn't until recently right now, over the last, 10 years or so, 12 years ago, where certain states started to allow that to be recreational, where we're not putting you in jail and for smoking cannabis. And if you're in New York or certain places, yeah, you can smoke it. But guess what? We don't want you trafficking it, which I understand because you don't know what's in it. People try stuff and try different drugs, especially when it's off market, which leads me to say, why not regulate it? Why not turn around so you can control and you know what's in it and what goes out to the people in the public is in it, whether you're talking about hemp or whether you're talking about full cannabis, doesn't matter. But it should be regulated, just like you regulate alcohol, just like you regulate aspirin, But no. Our legislators, they've been holding this thing out for a while. For what reason? I say we got to look at it like this. It was done by a Republican rush. Like the Republicans, conservatives, my party, the Republican Party, they turned around and they banned cannabis because it went against their war efforts from the hippies that were smoking it and all of that. And wouldn't it be amazing if a Republican president turned around and legalized it or made it more accessible? Because the reality of it is people do need this type of drug. It is a drug. We don't say it is recreational. Alcohol's a drug too, surprise. Oh, you guys that love it. But let's get down to the root of it. Let's be honest. Like, even it ain't killing nobody. Crack cocaine is making people walk down the street butt naked, high off of crack. Man, people get together and start a band. I heard this joke. Yeah. When you get alcohol in the mix, they start fighting. People fight. You put 4 guys with alcohol, they fight. You put 4 guys with cannabis, they start a band.
Congratulations. Well done.
But hey, the need to restrict it and control it is a big thing. And I am for restrictions and I'm for controls. I've heard people say it's the alcohol companies, the alcohol manufacturers that are anti it. And there's some, because it does get into their profits, especially if they don't have the money to go ahead and compete in that space. There's so many THC and different cannabis drinks that are out there that threaten their profits. People would rather drink a THC drink, get a little buzz, than turn around and not have to deal with all the other craziness that comes with alcohol, all the other craziness that comes with it. But I do believe stuff like that needs to be experimented and regulated, and they need to do it, but they can't even get it to the point of it being experimented on and examined in real true depth, like you do at some of these major colleges and universities where they have departments that are just focused on experimenting and finding out about drugs and different things that grow naturally. But no, man. Whatever. They say whatever. But Trump said he's going to release. He may be signing. That's what's out right now. And when I'm talking to you, it's 12 noon right now on a Monday, and we haven't heard anything about it yet so far. But this is the last take as of yesterday, 24 hours ago. Okay. And we definitely want to see, because the stocks are blowing up, and I think they're going to continue to explode.
Trader Tim Seymour, he's behind, of course, the Amplify Seymour Cannabis ETF, which surged nearly 55% today. Its best day on record. Such a good day that Tim comes to us in a hoodie. Tim,
in a hoodie. We're talking cannabis. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we?
So the rescheduling, that has been something that investors are hoping for. It seems like you get a whiff of it, the stocks go up. You say this is for real this time. Why?
A whiff, no pun intended. So I think it is real. I think it's always been real. I think even at the end of the Biden administration, the idea of rescheduling was out there. Remember, this doesn't require a congressional follow-through, doesn't require legislation. This is an administrative order. Trump's been very clear all along. The question was, could we get this in front of Trump, and could it be something that has enough of a priority? It's very clear that the industry has engaged Washington in a way that I think is much more sensible, been much more focused. I think there's no question that top CEOs have been in Mar-a-Lago, have been in D.C., have been working with the president's team. I think there's no question that RFK Jr. and the HHS and even Dr. Oz have weighed in on this, and important people around the president have said Schedule 3 from Schedule 1 makes a ton of sense. And I don't think this is even that controversial, even in a world of bipartisan dynamics. In fact, I think the call Wednesday night that is spoken about in the Washington Post article that was out last night between President Trump and Speaker Johnson is one that just really kind of explained what can happen. And the question is on the timing. The implications for this are incredible for the industry. And I do think that this is the kind of a domino to fall that would get other things going that don't necessarily have to be legislative follow through either, including exchange listings, which I think is the holy grail here, because that really would bring in institutional capital. If you're investing in cannabis here, there's not institutional capital.
Right. And that's what I wanted to go to. We have the screen up, Tim, in terms of the domino effect or the different tentacles, the different ways stocks will benefit. It's not just that the products themselves are no longer, regulated in the same way as a cocaine, for instance. It's all these other effects, including listings, including access to capital, et cetera.
So Schedule 3 effectively, legalizes the medical cannabis market. But it absolutely does mean, understand that as a Schedule 1 drug, cannabis is taxed in a way that basically gross profits are absolutely taxed. It makes it almost technically impossible for companies to be profitable.
So I keep saying this, and I will always say it, whether you're talking about immigration, whether you're talking about immigration and deportation, whether you're talking about Zoran Mandani, whether you're talking about Ilhan Omar, whether you're talking about it doesn't matter. Follow the money. Follow the money. I do believe one reason why cannabis hasn't become legalized or even on a national level, or even taken from Schedule 1 down to Schedule 3, okay, is simply there's too much money on the opposite side that was holding against it. But recently, and I've seen it myself, there's been a boom. It's nearly $1 billion. Is a multi-billion-dollar industry. But if you noticed what happened when we recently had this government shutdown and the government opened back up again, I saw this seeing reports of when the Republicans and Democrats agreed to actually reopen it back, they signed that bill. Okay. In that bill to reopen back up, there was also a portion that pulled hemp THC products off of the shelves within a year. And I was wondering how and why would they agree to that? But just like everything else, you couldn't separate it from the bill. It was so entwined in the bill. Now we're talking about an industry of THC and hemp. That's a multi-billion-dollar industry already. If you go to certain stores, you'll see THC drinks, you see hemp drinks. This is no longer a taboo type of situation where it seems like just a bunch of older folks kept this thing as taboo. And I would think it was older folks, but I don't know if it's just the older folks anymore because it was. But I believe, this is my personal opinion, when you surround tech people around Trump, like Elon Musk, and some of these other tech guys who are more creative and more liberal in many different ways. They're on the Republican or the conservative side. Don't get it twisted, because they recognize the need to be there right now. Okay, which is smart, because Trump he wants to blow their business. He wants to expand their business. They're users. Most of these, I'm not going to say all of them, but we know Elon Musk is probably a smoker, but it does affect them, and it affects everyone. And it's stupid at its whole. To me, it's the equivalent of dealing with back in the day where they had when you couldn't drink, and they would actually lock people up for making drinks, and moonshine came out. They were smuggling it. Prohibition. Yeah, that's the word, prohibition. They were smuggling for prohibition. But hey, prohibition stopped a lot of the growth, but people still started doing it, and they were smuggling behind them. So behind the government's back. So they had to stop it and bring it back. When David gets home from work and his wife is like, "You're not drinking no alcohol today. I'm glad that they took that devil's spirit out," Even though in the Bible, Jesus turned water into wine. It's weird. Somebody said, "That's not the same wine as it is today." How do you know? How do you know? If it was buzzing them, it was definitely something that was in there, okay? It was something. Come on now. Let's be for real. But they're doing the same thing, and they've done the same thing with cannabis. It's just been sitting on the side for a while, simply because they got the alcohol going. But it's billions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars, billions of opportunity. I think hundreds of thousands of people that have been in prison over the years for this stupid behind drug, this stupid behind leaf. And the worst thing I saw, even being as a conservative, I saw Fox News going ham on it. I think this is the worst thing he could ever do. I think it, da, da, da. I like listening to Fox, but sometimes y'all just need to just shut up. Y'all just need to. Because let's be for real. You're only taking the approach of these old media folks who don't want to lose power, who got something to say. They old school. And it's cool. There's nothing wrong with being old school. But let's be for real. Times are changing. Just like AI is busting out, this is going to bust out too. I've always been a proponent of educating over restricting. And we'll talk more about that. Let's finish this real quick.
In any way, vertically integrated companies can work within, accounting constructs to be more profitable. But this has huge implications right now for free cash flow. And this is something that the industry, at a time when a number of big companies have also actually pushed and rolled out some debt, have actually dealt with restructuring debt and have more to go. I think it's very important. It's potentially important for the 25 calendar year where there are taxes payable. If this gets done before the end of the tax year, it could actually be a boom even for 25 free cash flow. But more importantly, it really would be arguably the most important moment in Catalyst from a DC perspective. Again, this wouldn't be legislation. This would be administrative order. I think a lot would follow from here. We've heard headlines before. The sources I have in DC, the dynamics that I know have been going on for the industry now for months. Remember, we started getting real talk of Trump doing this in August. By the way, CNBS closed at the highs, but also at the high level of where prices went at the end of August. A lot of cannabis stocks did. We were on record volume. I think this does feel different.
It does feel different. A lot of things feel different right now with Trump. And
Cannabis stocks surged today amid growing reports.
I think it's kind of probably taking his conservative constituents, some of the ones that are hard-nosed, out of it, and they're upset. That's why you see Fox responding to this the way that they're responding to it and saying it's a bad idea and all that good stuff. It makes me look at the control of government, period. Just the control. The need to control people instead of turning around and pushing education. Control them. Control them and don't give them a chance to think freely. Let them conform to what we tell them is right and what's wrong. Because when you sit back and you do the studies, yeah, you get conflicting studies. Oh, cannabis makes you do this and do that. I heard somebody's depression and some other stuff. And then I've heard, no, it helps, heals your body, and it's great. And if you've had some experience with THC and you know for a fact, leave a comment. Because at the end of the day, there are still people who suffer from PTSD. I'm prior military. I know it's a lot of military cats out of there who go to, who have to get a card to get that prescription to help to be able to buy medical marijuana, because who wants to be stuck on pharmaceutical drugs dealing with PTSD or depression? You got people like Mike Tyson, who we know Mike is bananas. He's crazy. Mike's got his own cannabis line, accessories line. But he said something that was interesting when I was looking at one of his videos about this, because I had to do a deep dive, learn more, and just get more deeper. And I'm like, wow, this is. Mike said it. He said, man, my family likes me better because this helps him with his hurts, his pains, his injuries from years of boxing in the sport. And his family just likes him better. And Mike does seem like a more calm beast. No lie. Hulk Hogan was dealing with that same thing too. More of a calm beast. No lie. I think the stigma that cannabis is and marijuana is some type of drug that will kill you, and putting it on the level of crack cocaine, fentanyl, I think is insane. I think it's insane. It's very insane. And the only people I see pushing hard on that, really hard on that, and I hate to say, is the religious Christian folks. Yeah. And you heard what I said, religious Christian folks, not the people that have a relationship with God. And it's the ones who want to control it because they believe they're saving our country through that level of control. Now, you can't regulate people. You can't do that. We've seen when you get into regulating people, over-regulation leads to it's just another form of condemnation, another form of guilt, another form of guilting people, another form of putting them into slavery. You overregulate it. Overregulating. There has to be a balance where the needs are there and you see it in the. And I'm not a fan to say the government being in everything, but I could see why the government would need to be in that. And the government would make money. People will be more happy. More money will flow. But you try to share it, but follow the green, because the green will tell you, not the green of the plant, but the dollar green will tell you who's for it and who's against it.
That President Trump intends to sign an executive order that would loosen federal restrictions on marijuana. Officially, the White House says no final decisions have been made, but the Trump administration has been considering a reclassification of cannabis for a while. NBC Bay Area's Emma Goss explains how reclassifying the drug could be a huge boost for California's cannabis industry.
California's cannabis industry is bracing for what could be a big break if President Trump takes action to reclassify marijuana to a less serious class of drug. Currently put in the same drug category as heroin and cocaine, the proposed order would classify cannabis as a Schedule III drug alongside drugs like Tylenol with codeine.
This is a good thing. It should have been done a long time ago. I'm happy to hear it. There's obviously a lot here that we disagree with President Trump on, but this is one where we have agreement. Cannabis should not be grouped with hard drugs like heroin and cocaine.
The category matters.
It's crazy though. The libs, they got it. I mean, I tell you, your liberals, if you can't see that the guy, he's not anti-liberal. He doesn't just hate liberals, because this is more of a liberal thing than it is a conservative thing. And because it just is, from Nixon going on to Reagan, say no to drugs, and it's in that place. It's always been a conservative, not a sweet spot, but a pain for conservatives. But it's been a sweet spot for Dems, for liberals. I believe he is doing this strategically. I think it benefits him politically. I think it benefits us economically. And I think it will actually make some changes. Now, you're like, Leon, I thought you said you're a Christian. How do you do that? Because I actually have a relationship with God. I'm not sitting down and and rocking a title. I'm really not. Is it at the end of the day, if you think that cannabis is going to send you to hell, you got more problems than you really realize you do,
A lot for the sustainability of California's legal cannabis industry, which is struggling on several fronts at the moment. Assemblymember Matt Haney says current rules mean the industry can't operate like others do.
You can't operate like a regular small business. You can't deduct your rent and utilities and business costs in the same way that any other small business is allowed to. And you're charged more by banks and credit cards. Often these type of costs that the federal government puts on small businesses, because they're treating cannabis like hard drugs, lead to these businesses being unsustainable, unable to operate, shutting down, unable to compete with the illegal illicit market.
Reclassifying cannabis could potentially come with some caveats.
Just with the illegal illicit market in itself is enough, because there's so much stuff, like I mentioned earlier, that's in illegal illicit cannabis. You never know if somebody puts some fentanyl in it. You don't know what else could be added in there. LSD, any of that crap can be added in there because you get it off of Pookie on the corner, okay? And Mo on the corner, he got it off of Juarez from the cartel. And who knows? Who knows? And people don't intentionally go out to kill their buyers, but things happen, and you leave yourself open to more of that taking place. So much more. I think it would cripple the cartel hold on marijuana on the black market. I think it would blow up and expand the U.S. Market, and it would make so much money for local municipalities, so much for local areas. Now, people say it's not all about the money. Well, yeah, it's not all about the money, and it's not just the money. It is actually the health and safety of people also who go around, who don't listen and don't care what the government has to say, whether it be in Schedule 1, legal or illegal, and they will still go use it because they need it or they want it for whatever reason. They are the ones that are most susceptible to being hurt. And why do we care about them? Because that's a big thing to care about. They're American citizens. They're people that live here. I mean, there are our fellow man, like, for something like that. And I find that most people who feel that way, they've never done any type of real studying about cannabis and marijuana and any of the positive and negative effects. Just like anything else, like alcohol, anything you use in abundance and excessiveness, if it's like excessive, you're going to have things that happen. You're going to. Your body can't take it. It wasn't designed for it. You know, if I ate too much oregano every day and I just got up here and I'm putting oregano, I'm just going to eat oregano. Come on, man. It's oregano. You're like, it's not going to do too much. How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? Is a point in time your body says, hey, just stop. So we need to have that regulated for that reason.
Namely, that as a Category 3 drug, the federal government would have more control over how it's distributed and accessed, for better or worse, says Adam Smith, executive director of the Marijuana Policy Project.
It's a step in the right direction, but it's still unclear to those of us who advocate for an end to federal prohibition and a normalization of the commercial atmosphere around cannabis. The question is really going to be what comes next.
After the executive order is signed, the Drug Enforcement Administration would then finalize a proposed rule for reclassification later next year. Emma Goss, NBC Bay Area News.
Ooh, boy. So that's definitely going to change the way that things are done. Will it happen? Well, right now we're still waiting to see what takes place. I believe it will. I believe that Trump knows exactly what he's doing. That dude's got him. And when I sit back and I look at it, it's interesting to see that people have been using this. Florida is big for this, man. Florida's big for this. They've seen a rise in old folks, senior citizens, living it up and smoking pot more.
Each night, our Eye on America takes a look at the country. And tonight, we focus on one way it has changed. When the baby boom generation was coming of age, marijuana use was against the law. Well, now, in much of America, it's legal. And as Jim Axelrod reports, some boomers are making up for lost time.
Don Searles is going to a party and doesn't want to show up empty-handed.
Now, son, in goes peanuts.
So he's making peanut brittle, using an old family recipe with a modern-day twist.
But now you got a new ingredient. Yeah, we added the marijuana, yeah.
The party Don's attending is an old-school pot party. Although this one has a new wrinkle. It's at the Trilogy Retirement Community, an hour east of San Francisco.
Wow. Retirees getting high. Woo! You guys listen, yo. Whoa. You know, why not? Why not for them? See, y'all thinking that y'all going to hell for smoking a plant. That's the problem with most of you religious folks. Them jokers, they know they're about to exit out pretty soon. They 70, 80 years old. They like, hey, hell is legal. Pass the bud. Put on some Snoop. Why not? Why not? Y'all want to come down and bash them and judge them and kick them in the butt and be like, these guys living their best life. Their life is done. They're like, listen, they not about to do any type of things as young folks is doing. We just gonna smoke and chill. Their arthritis needs to be taken care of. They may be dealing with some areas of dementia. They may be like forgetting some stuff. They may have some pain somewhere. They chilling.
Golf course has a new competitor for popularity.
This is the old style of rolling a joint.
Cannabis. Gail Crawley, the host of the party, is 74 and not at all surprised by some new numbers. Between 2021 and 2023, cannabis use among Americans 65 and older went up 46%.
Does that surprise you at all?
No.
Why not?
Because cannabis is a good solution to a lot of medicinal issues.
And with cannabis now legal in 40 states for medical use and 24 for recreational, the stigma is gone.
I've never smoked a cigarette, a joint.
When it comes to his cannabis, Stephen Clark is strictly an edibles guy.
You're a cannabis guy. What is it about cannabis that you're drawn to?
That it does work on PTSD, pain issues, relaxation issues, brain disorders.
Homeboy flying high on a kite. Look at him. And I ain't mad at you too, man. I ain't mad.
Heart disease.
That's his experience. But some medical professionals think differently.
If they are smoking marijuana, we can be pretty confident that they're harming their cardiovascular system.
Professor Matt Springer at UC San Francisco has a warning. The active ingredient in marijuana may carry health risks no matter how seniors get it. Smoking it, gummies, even peanut brittle.
For people who get their THC through edibles, what does your study suggest?
It suggests that they might be having an adverse, a harmful effect on their cardiovascular system. If they're eating THC, they're not without risk.
But don't talk to Don Searles about risk. 5 years after a motorcycle accident left him with chronic pain. He needs something.
So there's a new study out. It shows a connection between cannabis use and cardiovascular disease.
It doesn't surprise me. I go to my doctor and he says, geez, quit drinking milk. Stay away from the sugar. You know, what isn't bad for you nowadays?
But despite the warnings,
he's not lying. And like every single thing, if you noticed, there's always a report saying that. They'll say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Then you'll get another report that says that apple doesn't keep the doctor away. Matter of fact, the apple harms you because the fiber, it's just, it's useless. I've heard apples are useless. It doesn't have any effect on it. There's no nutritional value. Broccoli, I've heard broccoli being no nutritional value. And I recently learned that broccoli has protein in it, in which I didn't know. Listen, y'all can bash me. So, if you knew broccoli had protein in it, leave a comment and let me know. I didn't know. But there's always a counter argument, is my point. There's always a counter argument for the benefit argument. Always. I kind of low-key believe that it's designed to keep you in a place of turmoil, like a tug of war on the inside. Like, oh, it's not good. Oh, it's not bad. Oh, it's like this, that. And it's been around for so freaking long. I haven't seen one person with an obituary that said he died because of cannabis use. I haven't seen any obituaries, and maybe you may know of it. Enlighten me. Oh, he had lung disease because he was smoking cannabis. Have you seen that? I don't. I've seen lung disease from tobacco, freaking cigarettes, all the chemicals they put in that joint. I've seen liver rot and liver disease from alcohol, all the freaking high, not even, and when they say alcohol, they're not even talking about wine, they're talking about heavy alcohol. But I haven't seen that yet for cannabis. And cannabis is not new. What? It's been around since we've known of, since the early 1900s? If I'm smoking as far as in it, right? Since the early 1900s, 1930s. But boy. There's more going on here, and there's always been more going on. So the cannabis users are always bringing and drawing attention to the fact that it's a conspiracy. And you know how it is. A conspiracy. But Trump's on a mission. I think he's going to do it. It may be today. We may see it at the end of the day. Who knows? But if we don't, we'll definitely probably see it with this week sometime. And I think It needs to be like that because it's been demonized enough, and there's so much stuff out here actually killing people. Nobody's died off of that stuff. So much stuff out here killing people that it's a shame. They need to focus on that and take their arm off of this. But you know, the need to be in control. I'm all right. I get it. I need to be in control. But education over control is always the best. Is always the best.
These seniors are happy just the way they are, high and retiring. For Eye on America, I'm Jim Axelrod in Rio Vista, California.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I add balance to this all the time, man, because walking around high all the time I don't think that's where you want to be. There's a lot of stuff you need to get done with life. Productivity is very important. But for their case, dude, let them live it up. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You know? Wow. Hey, guys, like, follow, subscribe for more content. I'm going to bring you some real interesting stories. These are things that pop out to me. I like to talk about the culture. I like to talk about the larger culture at play, not just the local culture. I'd like to talk about the larger culture at play also. Shoot, might have to use a restroom pretty soon, boy. Coffee, boy. I've been on this coffee. Sprouts has some really good coffee. That's shout out to Sprouts, man. Sprouts coffee is great. I love coffee. I try to really control you see already why I'm hyped. A lot of times it's just the coffee, bro. And, you know, coffee does some wonderful things to you. Man, Atlanta has been one of the most interesting places. I'm going to switch this up a little bit. Atlanta's been, and please follow, like, subscribe. Atlanta's been one of the most interesting places I've seen when it comes to people doing shit they're not supposed to be doing. All right. And just recently, we did see a dentist, a fake dentist, fraud of a dentist who been getting you guys get these veneers, and you guys get those veneers. And if you don't know what veneers are, I'm pretty sure you do. If you don't know, veneers are fake teeth. You know, they go in place, covering those bad teeth that are there. Okay, those veneers, you try to cut corners and keep an extra $1 or a couple dollars in your pocket. But I like what's going on right now with Atlanta, and they're cracking down on this fraudulent veneer dentist. This guy's been doing this for a long time, making millions and millions of dollars. Now he's facing a Rico chase.
Developments with a fake dentist who allegedly made millions of dollars on cosmetic procedures he was not trained for or licensed to perform. Channel 2 consumer investigator Justin Gray broke the story of the arrest of that Atlanta man last fall, and now he's facing more than 100 charges in a new formal indictment.
I was there as investigators raided Brandon Diller's
Man, 100 charges. This is my first time watching this. 100 charges. I saw the story. I said, I'm going to wait until I play it, then I'll react to it. For veneers, for dentistry. Yeah, and I can get it because people can die, just like you guys were getting they were getting these booty shots done and these BBLs done. People die from, I can see that.
East Atlanta dental office. It looked like the real thing. He had more than 157,000 followers on Instagram, but this new indictment charges him with 113 different charges, including Rico, 51 counts of theft by deception, and 21 counts of battery.
Last fall, we watched Brandon Dillard appear from jail before a judge. The expensive smile from his popular social.
Man, look at that boy's face. That boy, criminal face. Boy, that boy's face looked like, woo. He looked hurt. He like, damn, I was the dude.
Smile from his popular social media pages, gone in his mugshot.
He not smiling no more. He not smiling at all.
Veneer specialist, but Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis calls him a dangerous criminal.
This is an illegitimate operation. The problem is,
there go Fonnie again. Fonnie got to take somebody down. She said, I couldn't take Trump. I'm going to take the veneer guy out.
the consequences are to one's health.
Last October, we were the only media there as investigators raided A-List Smiles Atlanta. Prosecutors allege that Dillard pocketed more than $4 million from 2021 to 2024, while the indictment alleges patients suffered damage to their teeth and mouths. Last year, Christy Brown told me she paid Dillard $3,000 for veneers. Her dentist immediately noticed problems with it at cleaning.
Like the way it was put on, he just kept asking, who did this? Who you need to be careful. Did he have a dentist certificate? And I was like, no, I don't remember seeing any of that. I should have known.
Is Brandon Dillard a dentist?
Brandon Dillard is not a dentist. He's never been a dentist. And as much as he may want to play one on Instagram, he is not one.
Dillard claimed he was a veneer technician and he trained others to be veneer techs. That's a job that legally does not exist. He's set to be arraigned in January. Reporting in the newsroom, Justin Gray, Channel 2 Action.
You guys cut these corners and you think everything on social media is true. There are people on social media that aren't licensed to do any of that stuff. Like, I'm licensed as an agent and a broker in Georgia. Okay? But I won't go to Florida and try to sell because it's for Georgia. Okay? Florida has its own licensing requirement. You can't chase the fad you can't chase the fad. Just because they're popular on social doesn't mean that they're right or correct. There's a lot of people giving out very bad information on social, and nobody's talking about it. So I'm down for that. Like, I feel like that's a big thing. People die from having bad mouth health, and a lot of people don't think about it or even know. Like, you can die early from having bad oral hygiene. And that surprises some people. Yeah, not flossing, not brushing your teeth, and even worse, introducing a foreign object into your mouth that isn't supposed to be there or putting it in incorrectly. Yes. And he's not the only one. I saw another report of a girl in Atlanta. She was on a shade room. In the shade room, they got a bunch of drama. But they followed her into, they were filming her, videotaping her, putting veneers in somebody's mouth. Not licensed, no type of certification. You should keep that to the dentist. If the dentist tells you it's $10K for it, and this guy's giving it to you for $3, you got to realize there's something going on. Because even in real estate, when we have a flat fee service and we only charge you $5.99 to list it, there is something going on. You're not getting the full service because you're only paying $5.99 to list it. And that's very clear. There's a bunch of flat fee services out here that do that. It's not a full service brokerage. It's just meant to put your stuff out there to the MLS and have agents call and you do the work. Okay, you do the work. No different than this veneer business. If it's cheap, there's something going on. When things are so freaking cheap, you got to question yourself. What am I not getting? So after 100 counts, damn, they might throw the book at this boy. They might throw the book at him. He might get it. Yup. He might just get it and get it freaking hard. Because this is no joke. When people die, their life is in that place. I'm all for it, man. I am all for it. I'm all for it. Whew. Fake dentist. Hey, man, if you got veneers, I don't know what the average cost of veneers are anyway. I say $10K. I don't know. Those things might be a couple. I don't know. $3,000 to me is pretty cheap. Especially if you're messing with my teeth. My insurance doesn't cover it. Oh, wow. Let's see what this is.
Story that's all new this hour, 2 security guards.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, let's get into this. Hey, let's get into this. And don't forget, man, we got the Patreon exclusive videos and then money moves. As a real estate guy, I like to talk about ways that you can make money in a real estate business. And I only put that out through the Patreon. You don't have to be licensed for those things. Yes, you can be a wholesaler. You can be all these other creative ways. And we talk about the creative financing. We also talk about exclusive videos and things like that. This I had to do this on this because this is the most stupidest shit I've ever seen. And it always happens in Atlanta. Why is it that you always get these fraudulent ass, stupid behind jokers out here pretending to be cops, pretending to be dentists, pretending to be veneer specialists, pretending to be. They always pretending to be out here just to land a fraud. Now, these jokers, they pretended to be the wrong thing, which was police officers.
Taking the law into their own hands by impersonating police officers to frighten a man after a minor car crash. Channel 2 Gwinnett County Bureau Chief Matt Johnson is live near Stone Mountain. And Matt, the victim says he was surrounded at gunpoint.
Now, if you don't know where Gwinnett County is in Atlanta, that is north. It's like, it's not Atlanta. It's the metro area to Atlanta. It's like northeast, to Atlanta. So if you're looking at Atlanta, it's on a map. Just look northeast. That's Gwinnett County. Yeah, that's the area.
And it all happened in front of a preschool. Police say that those two men used their car to actually block a lane of traffic and block the victim in here. And then police say they used their guns to surround the man, apparently to get his insurance information.
You're not law enforcement, correct?
Not law enforcement.
All right, wait over
This
there.
body camera video shows a Gwinnett County police officer confronting two men dressed in tactical vests after police say they chased down the driver, blocked him in, and pointed guns at him.
If he did something, you could have called law enforcement. But you cannot block nobody. You're not law enforcement.
Police say 22-year-old Ryan Mays and 35-year-old David Robinson work as private security guards, but looked like police Saturday afternoon. It was around 4 o'clock on North Deshong Road near Stone Mountain when the victim called 911 in front of a preschool.
They had pointed their guns at him. They had threatened to shoot him. They had told him to get out of the car.
One man had a vest marked K9 with a body camera and taser. Another wore a vest marked enforcement officer. The victim told police the chase began in DeKalb County after a near collision. The two men said the victim actually hit their car, but denied ever identifying themselves as police officers.
It was very easily for them to be mistaken as police officers, and the victim's statement stated that they presented themselves as police officers to him.
Police say the two men dressed for authority that they did not have, and now they face multiple felonies, including impersonating an officer.
When, individuals that are not law enforcement are impersonating and pretending to be, it puts the public at risk.
Why do we get this fraudulent shit always happening in Atlanta? Why? Like, why we get this fraudulent shit always happening in Atlanta? And I always like to listen. If you're making comments, I always enjoy hearing comments as long as y'all keep it clean. I'm good with that, bro. And I agree with that. I know that's the last topic I covered. With the cannabis, all eyes are on the cannabis market. And Trump does need to keep his word. I agree with you on that. If I look at this is what I tell people when you come to this city, when it comes to this fraudulent shit. You got to keep your wits upon you. You got to realize that just because they're wearing a uniform and a badge doesn't necessarily mean that they belong here, that they're doing the job. Just because. And a lot of people don't get it. See, my wife won't even get out of a car because a cop pulls her over like that. She will pull over to a nice place and then roll down a window. She's not going to jump out because you don't know what you're dealing with when you come to that. You don't know what you're dealing with. And I think it's worse when you talk about women. I think it's worse when you talk about the women out here because, dude, they didn't even say if it was a male or female driver, but I know a lot of women that I've seen them keep driving with the sirens on, headed wherever they're headed. And they'll pull over to a lit spot, which is a smart thing to do, because they don't even know if the person's impersonating a police officer and not really a police officer. They don't know. Now, and that makes it harder. It makes it a whole lot harder for people when that's happening. And what's up? What's that? AFLAM M8C. Everyone is focusing on marijuana market only now. That's true. Everybody's only focusing on marijuana market only now. Some people are, some people aren't. But the stocks are going crazy. And I don't think those stocks are going to go down, man. I don't think after this, I do honestly think this week he's going to do it if he doesn't do it today. If he doesn't do it today, I believe he's going to do it. He's going to do it. It benefits him to do it. It benefits Trump to do it for everyone. It benefits him. It benefits his play being a president going for, and I think he's smart to do it on the beginning, like in this run towards this midterm election. It shows that I don't hate the libs. I don't like some of your policies, but I understand some things make sense. Like you actually are able to talk to people. Hey, medical marijuana treatments actually helped me. It wasn't medical marijuana. It was hemp. It helped me sleep for one period of time until I actually got mouth tape. And then I was able to say, okay, let me get some mouth tape, and it helped me. But I can see that. I know guys in the military that have medical marijuana treatments, and it helps them. It helps them not just to sleep, it helps them to eat, and then they suffer from PTSD. So I think it's a blind eye it's stupid to turn a blind eye from that and say that it's not, it's something that's stupid, something that we need to ban altogether. It's dumb. It's completely dumb. Those days are done. And I'm thankful that at least now that they're having this conversation and not treating this shit like it's some elite. It's just taboo, really taboo. Yeah, he does lose it. I think he would lose a lot of votes after that. He would lose, yeah. It's number one decade's catalyst. I agree. Okay, so Atlanta. I had to pull this other one. Hey, I'm not going to do two back-to-back pieces of content on Atlanta. I'm not going to do that right now. We're going to come back to this other portion on it because I got some other stuff I want to talk about. We'll come back to this portion on it because Atlanta gets a lot. I'm hard on Atlanta. I know I'm hard on the city, and I'm like that largely because I believe Atlanta doesn't live up to what it's supposed to live up to a lot of times. And it's just too much shit that goes on. A lot of people that do like crazy stuff here. Okay. So check this out. We're going to look at, and this is a big thing because to me, it kind of showed what's taking place overall on a global scale. Because I'm sitting back and I was preparing for this and eating breakfast and I'm flipping through YouTube and bang, I'm like, damn, Chile turns far right. Now they said far right. Of course, this is a Washington Post. They say far right. Everything's far right. But there's no right. There's always far right. I get it. Okay. Chile turns far right. I mean, Chile just elected its very first in a long time right-leaning president. But to me, when I look at this, I see the United States effect on what happened with Trump coming into office. This whole Trump train, I see it on a national scale, on a worldwide scale, I would say, on a worldwide level. Let's go.
Jose Antonio Cast was elected president of Chile in a decisive victory against a left-wing opponent.
What?
He will become...
Hold on, go back to that. That guy said, make Chile great again. So you see it. Is make Chile great again. I'm happy that Chile is actually, that they're taking this level of responsibility to bring back some level of conservative back into Chile. But it's interesting to see how much this immigration play has affected like the world. I think a lot of people wasn't waking up. A lot of countries are just starting to wake up to the effects of immigration on their borders and their policies.
He will become the most conservative president that Chile has had since the return of democracy in the 1990s, amid this wave of support for right-wing politicians across Latin America over the last few years.
Vamos a restablecer la ley. Vamos a restablecer el respeto a la ley en todas las regiones, sin excepciones.
Cast is a longtime politician, and he's pledged to attack a growing sense of insecurity and crime in Chile and reduce illegal immigration in the country.
Chile ha sido invadido. La inmigración ilegal, el crimen organizado.
Look at that. Chile has been invaded. Illegal immigrants, organized crime.
La acción del gobierno han desbordado nuestras fronteras. Pero eso se acabó.
Chile has long been one of South America's safest countries, but over the last few years, it's seen a dramatic increase in immigration that has mainly come from Venezuela, and it has seen a small increase in crime over recent years. A lot of voters had tied that to immigration, which Jose Antonio has pledged to crack down on, pledging to build ditches in the north along the border to prevent migrants from entering the country, and also expelling those migrants who are in Chile illegally.
Las personas que hoy día infringen la ley y están de manera irregular en Chile, les quedan 90 días para dejar el país.
They going serious over there. People who the people who are today breaking the law and in Chile irregularly have 90 days to leave the country. They taking a Trump approach. But you know, it's not just Chile. It's been going on in the UK. And Americans don't even notice that it's going on in the UK in that level. And that's the craziest part.
In recent elections across Latin America, we've seen a new wave of victories for right-wing politicians. There's the midterm elections in Argentina, where President Javier Milei's party did very well. Bolivia's presidential election, as well as elections in Honduras and in Ecuador earlier this year. So some of the issues that has propelled this new wave of politicians to power is a desire among voters to address two really key fundamental issues. One is an increasing crime, of organized crime, of drug trafficking, of extortion that has affected many of these countries, as well as economic challenges in other countries, from Argentina to Bolivia, that a lot of voters blame years of mismanagement and corruption by left-wing governments.
If you look at where they were when he first...
Isn't it strange that left-wing governments seem to have the highest issues when it comes to drug cartels and illegal drugs flowing through their country? What is it that the left and illegal drugs have in common? What is it? And I know we're talking, and I'm not even talking about cannabis. That's crazy. I'm talking about like the illicit drug use, fentanyl, crack, cocaine, like getting into the market and the people is crazy. All of these countries, like the Venezuela, that are experiencing this, the Mexico, they're always left-leaning countries. Always left-leaning countries. I do believe that the drug cartels, just like the mafia, had issues with the right, the conservative side, because it seemed like, you guys are conservative. And it seems like they don't have, like they've put a foothold in these countries. Damn. We don't recognize where we are in the U.S. We really don't recognize where we are pivotally in the U.S. See, UK can go through whatever they go through, but until Trump actually came and put his foot down, now we've seen a ripple effect going into South America.
And for office and where they are now. Scott, I would say that it's pretty amazing the job he's done.
So the transformation's unbelievable. He inherited the same kind of mess you did, and he's doing the same kind of job.
The Trump administration is looking to boost a lot of those candidates that it is allied with. In Argentina, the U.S. provided a $20 billion bailout to President Milei's government just weeks before a crucial midterm elections. In Honduras as well, just before the presidential election there, President Trump said that he would reconsider support for the country if his candidate did not win. President Trump has also even gone after left-wing politicians and presidents in the region, most notably President Petro of Colombia.
He better wise up, or he'll be next. He'll be next too.
With the rise to power of several right-wing politicians and governments across Latin America, this provides an increased opportunity for the US and the Trump administration. A lot of these governments want to have closer relationships with the US on economic and security issues. You know, they need to also maintain ties with China due to its economic influence in the region, but they want to have closer ties with the US. We expect this right-wing trend to continue into next year during at least three important elections. In Peru, a right-wing candidate will most likely win the presidential election, and in Colombia, there will be right-wing candidates vying for power, as well as in Brazil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. I think it's going to influx more. I honestly believe that this is probably going to be one of Trump's legacies when you talk about changing the North America and South America and giving. See, these guys, they want to be like the U.S. in the economy. They want to be like the U.S. in safety and regulation. They understand the need for capitalism. They're capitalistic societies that know they some of them have access to oil, some don't, but they have natural resources and they want to actually do more business with the U.S. So I think that's a positive note, in my opinion, that's taking place. I'm curious to see what happens as we go into the midterm, and we'll see. Man, boom, boom, boom. Wow.
Welcome back. The Department of Homeland Security celebrating
These ICE raids. Yeah, man. Marijuana. The stocks are blowing up. They're getting hot. Let me see. See if I heard anything lately. I haven't seen anything yet. Yep. Let's check. Let's see. Latest news. Yeah. I think Trump knows he's got to keep his promise with this one. This is easier than the Epstein files. This is much easier than the Epstein files, I'm telling you. Okay. Much easier. Man, did y'all hear Budweiser's closing? Budweiser's actually closing, laying off. Man, I've never seen a liquor company lay off people before. An entire factory? Damn. Oof, that's horrid. Dag. Yeah, we probably gonna talk about that. NY tariff. Mandani got man. Mandani's gonna have a lot. He's gonna have a lot of issues. Shoot. I'm gonna have a lot to deal with at NY. Said 90% of rappers are poor. Of course they're poor. Nothing yet. I haven't seen anything yet. We'll see. I'm waiting. Woo. Dang. Man, Trump. You know, it's something when you get in this holiday time, man, it gets more and more crazier. ICE raids. Let's go.
Successful crackdown on illegal immigration in Los Angeles. More than 10,000 illegals have been arrested since ICE raids began in June. They include murderers, kidnappers, and sexual predators. All this despite violent protests against ICE officers erupting across the city. Agents being hit with rocks and Molotov cocktails. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem testified on Capitol Hill last week defending the operations. Watch.
I would say, Mr. Chairman, what keeps me up at night is that we don't necessarily know all of the people that are in this country, who they are and what their intentions are. And that is why we are so aggressive at making sure that we're going out and doing investigative work, finding those violent criminals, finding those people who shouldn't be in this country to begin with, and those that want to go after and to harm our American citizens.
DHS reporting more than 2.5 million illegal aliens have left the United States in the second Trump administration. That includes more than 605,000 deportations.
2.5 million. What? Oh, I know guys that used to do repair work in rehab houses in Atlanta. I said I'm tempted to call and see if they still have their visa in place. I'm not for, and see, and this is the thing, I'm not for people losing their way to take care of their people, but at the end of the day, you got to realize U.S. citizens got to have, man, if you are in the U.S. legally, you're a citizen of the United States of America, you should have the first dibs on these jobs and these opportunities. We should not be sitting back and letting foreigners, because they get a Visa card, come in and outwork our ass. You shouldn't. And there's so many layers and tiers to that. But 2.5 million. 2.5 million. Hold on. Let me ask ChatGPT question. They may be. Okay, let's do this. How many people did how many people did Barack Obama deport? Go ahead. Shoot, man, chat. Hold on. How many people did Barack Obama deport?
During Barack Obama's presidency, it's estimated that around 3 million people were deported. He was sometimes referred to as the deporter-in-chief by critics because of the high number of deportations that happened during his administration.
Man, he is coming very close. So he's probably 500,000 if those numbers are right, from being the next deporter-in-chief. And if we got 3 more years left to go with this, I think he's going to be the newest deporter-in-chief. He's going to be the newest one. Yeah. 605 deportations, 1.5 self-deportations, left the U.S., 2.5 plus. Do you put the self-deportations part of that? Are they part of, would you put that in there? Do you tell me, leave a comment if you think that the self-deportations would be a part of that whole deportation portion. Because if you put self-deportations into it, yeah, he's going to be the newest deporter-in-chief if he continues at this rate over the next 3 years. And I'm all for it. I'm just all for it. I don't care. Deport him. Honestly, deport him. I got kids going to college and all of that. I want them to not have to deal with some illegal migrant somewhere, Georgia Tech campus, UGA campus, Villanova campus, shooting it up or raping them or whatever the case may be, because we let people up in here. They need to go get them all, bro. Need to get them all.
And nearly 2 million self-deportations. Joining me now is former federal prosecutor and former acting ICE director, Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. What's your reaction?
Hold on. I'm curious about this. Did they do self-deportations in Obama's era? Did Obama have self-deportations? And if so, what was the number for the amount of people that self-deportated underneath him?
Yeah, so during the Obama administration, there actually was a notable concept of what was called self-deportation. Basically, it was kind of an idea that if you enforce certain immigration laws strictly enough, some undocumented immigrants might choose to leave on their own rather than face deportation. In terms of actual numbers, it's a bit tricky because self-deportation isn't officially tracked in the same way as formal deportations. But it was definitely discussed as a policy effect or a side effect of certain enforcement measures. There isn't a solid, widely agreed upon statistic for exactly how many people self-deported on.
You know, I know that concept. I just realized when Trump brought it out that it was like a concept that they just started to track. They didn't track that before. I can see why they wouldn't track it before. Who knows if you're leaving? I mean, I think Trump started giving away money for people to leave or something, or giving them the opportunity to come back. Yeah, then you could track the numbers through that.
Reaction to what has taken place this year, and what about all of these attacks against our ICE agents?
It's so amazing how successful the Trump administration has been this year. And I thought they would be successful, but they've even exceeded what I thought they'd be able to accomplish. If you think about 2.5 million people when you took the self-deports and the deportations just in the first year. So it's really amazing. And when you look at like what Kristi Noem was talking about in Los Angeles, they're doing it in spite of all of the efforts of the Democratic Party to fight them at every turn. And look at the people they're getting rid of, you know, child predators, murderers, people like that. So they are making.
So Chile wants to deport. The UK is deporting. I think the trend, can we not agree that there is something there and stop letting these politicians who on the left or these politicians that want to be overly nice and stupid and just let people in, stop letting them be the standard and saying what they're saying is right? Because what they're saying is wrong. It can't be right. It can't be. There's no way that you could possibly believe that letting people into your borders undocumented and unregulated, untracked, not reviewed, no background checks, that is the smartest way to do. Because if Chile's having that issue, we know the UK is having that issue. You can't go to any of these countries and just set up shop and break in and then think the shit is going to be okay. They will kick you out. This is a lie that we're being deceived in. You cannot go to any country right now, sit down, start a business by breaking into the country, start a business. They give you their identification number and think you're going to be cool. They will drag you out. They will tell you, no, you can't start a business here. Or even if you're legal coming in, if you came in the right way, they still won't let you start a business. Why do we do that here? Yes, this is the land of opportunity, but it's for opportunity for the people who come in the right way. This is not something that we even should have an argument about, but we constantly have this argument, and it's constantly a force. Constantly.
In our country so much safer. So look at the crime stats next year for this year. They're going to go down, way down. And I think one of the things going forward is the deterrence has been so successful. That's why we have nobody trying to come across our border anymore. And I think these self-deportations are going to continue to increase because people know if they're here illegally, the game is up and it's time to leave. We need to have an immigration system that's designed to benefit Americans, not to benefit Democrats or the illegal aliens.
Yeah, but a federal judge in Baltimore has now blocked immigration officials from re-detaining Salvadorian national Kilmer Abrego Garcia. He's fighting his deportation case, as you know. He was released from federal immigration custody on Friday. A judge said that there was no legal authority to hold him. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt responded. Watch this.
The White House, the administration, opposed this activism from a judge who is really acting as a judicial activist, which we've unfortunately seen in many cases across the country. Abrego Garcia is present in our country illegally. He is a proven human trafficker. He is a proven gang member. The administration has evidence of that. And as you saw from the Department of Homeland Security, they issued a statement saying they'll continue to fight this legal battle in court.
Jonathan, Garcia says he'll keep fighting the Trump administration. Where do you see this case headed?
Two things I think happening. One, they're going to appeal it in the courts because this judge really overstepped. The decision to deport is within the province of DHS, the Department of Justice, not a federal court. The only reason he wasn't deported, remember, his deportation was withheld because El Salvador was too dangerous, which goes to the second point, which is they should reopen the...
They said El Salvador was too dangerous. He's dangerous, but we can't put him in a dangerous place.
Deportation hearings because the circumstances in El Salvador have changed. In fact, El Salvador is significantly safer than Baltimore or Prince George's County, where I believe he lives. So he'd be, if it's about his safety, send him back to El Salvador. So ultimately, he's going home. They're going to keep fighting this. Plus, he has the charges in Tennessee for human trafficking. But what's really amazing, it just shows how radical the Democratic Party is on this issue. They are fighting tooth and nail on every single deportation, regardless regardless if you're a gang member or a criminal, as we see with sanctuary cities. I mean, we had senators having cocktails with this guy. It's truly astounding, but they're going to fight. He's going to go home. It's going to continue to be a battle, but he's not staying.
I mean, imagine what that communicates to people that are here illegally and they do illegal shit and they see that happening. Just in context, do you see how it never becomes important to people until somebody that they lose or that they love has been taken by it or it affects them in some way, shape, or form? Then they become an advocate for or against. I don't need to have somebody taken out of my life by criminal activities, by an illegal immigrant for me to understand the severity of this situation. I don't. It never has to happen because you can common sense is right there, and it says that if you sit on it long enough, it'll creep up to your door and you'll end up being a victim of it. So I sit back and say, what type of message does this communicate to the actual criminals? Like the actual people that are here illegally, like the people that are here illegally with the ties to the mob, to the cartel, ties to these gangs. If they see senators having lunch and having cocktails and advocating for a known terrorist, them jokers know that those jokers are gang members. If they see criminals doing that, if they see senators doing that, what does it tell them? What does it tell them? What does it tell them? Now, if I'm wrong and I'm off and you know, you are more than welcome to make a comment. I will sit back and listen to your comments. I'm not gonna be an ass, you know. But go ahead and make your comments. You're welcome to say if you feel that I'm tripping about it, because it sends a message. It doesn't send a message of safety and security. It really says we don't care about our people. That's really what it says. It really says that we care more about our people that are not from here than people that are from here. And I keep saying it goes back to stacking the votes. It goes back to stacking the votes, y'all.
No, it's a great point. Liz Peek, jump in here.
Good morning. I think that the deportation of criminal aliens is wildly popular in this country. We've seen polling, 85% of the country or something supports that. But lately, there has been a change in sentiment of more broad-scale deportations. We know when they do these ICE raids, they pick up 100 people, maybe 30 are criminals, and maybe 70 are not. What would you recommend to the Trump administration over the next 6 months to a year in terms of maybe tempering the deportation push in order to get back in the good graces of Hispanics and others who supported Donald Trump in last year's election?
Well, ultimately, I think what they are doing has been successful, but I do think they need to laser focus on the criminals, on people. There's over 1 million people that have already been ordered deported that need to be picked up and sent home. So focus on them. But the reality is when you go to arrest a criminal alien, if they're with other illegal aliens, you can't just let them stay. It's the law. So if the Democrats really didn't want broader deportations, they wouldn't be fighting sanctuary. They wouldn't be supporting sanctuary cities, because the easiest way to get the criminals is in the jails and in the courts, but the Democrats fight that every step of the way because the Democrats like this issue. They like the fact that not criminals are getting picked up so they could promote their narrative. But the fact of the matter is they're getting the criminals, and they need to just keep focusing on that and keep messaging that. Every time they get a murderer off the street, put it on TV, which they've done a great job of it. But, you know, unfortunately, the media wants to focus on other things, meaning the media broadly, not Fox. And I think, you know, continue what they're doing, but the focus needs to be every criminal goes home. Everyone that's here illegally that commits a crime goes home.
All right. We'll keep watching.
That boy was to make sure he stays as a visiting commentator for Fox. The media broadly, not just Fox, not Fox, specifically with the media and broadly. Yeah, but he's not wrong. I've always said that they need to be more surgical with it, but you still have spillover that's going to happen, and I think the spillover is going to continue to happen because when you have illegals with that are criminals with illegals that aren't criminals, that's what happens. I mean, honestly, do you know if you're from one part of Venezuela and then this person's from the other part of Venezuela, that the person that you're congregating with did not commit some level of atrocity, crime, or is in the drug business, in some illegal narcotics business, when you're sitting down having dinner with them or you're talking to them, do you truly know? You both are Venezuelans here from Venezuela. You don't know. You may have heard people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's true. It's not. It doesn't mean it. So we have spillover. It's going to happen. And dare I say, hey, at the end of the day, if you're here illegally, you may not have done a crime, violent offense, but you're here illegally. That's why the word is illegal. It would be legal, but it's not. It's illegal. What do you expect is going to happen? You think this is going to be this? You think this is going to be cool runnings? I don't know, bro. Y'all wildin'.
We are going to continue, though, with some more of these headlines coming out of New York City as I bring us back out to the live image that we have.
So as long as New York is going to do what it's going to do, I had to grab this story. I haven't seen this one in its entirety. Let me run this.
At the Empire State Building. This time I want to talk a little bit about New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani and some comments that he made over the weekend as he posted a video to social media Sunday explaining immigrants' rights to refuse to speak to or comply with agents from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. This comes days after federal agents carried out a raid in Manhattan. Now, in the video, Mamdani vowed to protect the city's 3 million immigrants, saying, quote, "We can all stand up to ICE if you know your rights." It's a pretty short video. I'm going to play it next.
ICE attempted to raid Canal Street and detain our immigrant neighbors. As mayor, I'll protect the rights of every single New Yorker, and that includes the more than 3 million immigrants who call this city their home. But we can all stand up to ICE if you know your rights. Last weekend, ICE attempted to raid Canal Street and detain our immigrant neighbors. As mayor, I'll protect the rights of every single New Yorker, and that includes the more than 3 million immigrants who call this city their home. But we can all stand up to ICE if you know your rights. If you encounter ICE, these are the things that every New Yorker should know. First, ICE cannot enter into private spaces like your home, school, or a private area of your workplace without a judicial warrant signed by a judge.
I keep saying this guy is not American. And this is the only place that we can go, only place in the world where you can come in from being a complete foreigner, become naturalized, and run for an office. And damn, if you get an office like he got right there, you start trying to change American politics.
Oh no!
And then you start trying to shape it in the image that you want it to be, and not in the image that it needs to be or that our founding fathers made it to be. We understand and we know that the people who founded America did not look like some of the immigrants that are here, like y'all. But the reason it works is because they founded it on principles that are right, that are not, it's not crazy to have the freedom of speech, which they don't have in their country. It's not crazy to have the pursuit of happiness, and which they don't have in their country. It's not crazy to be able to freely worship, which they don't have in their country. This is insane. I think this is the most clownish move. And we already knew it was coming, and more is coming down the hill from this guy. Even though he met with Trump, he's still going to do that, making New York into a third world country. He doesn't distinguish between illegal immigrants or legal immigrants. They're all immigrants, which is true, but not all apples are apples. I mean, they're apples, right? But some apples are green and some apples are red. Same thing with immigration. Some immigrants are legal and some immigrants are illegal. Why can't he just say that? And that's the most frustrating thing. It's the pandering to the people, the lie and deception and building that stronghold in New York that says we're against all of that. When with no intention to change his mind. And I would bet to believe that he's talking to the mayor of Chicago and over in Minnesota and where else? probably a couple mayors in San Fran to give him advice on how to handle this situation with ICE. This is a fact, and it's sad. The ground game for local politics on the conservative side needs to be a whole lot stronger. Because if you win local politics, you control these little patches like New York, Minnesota, Chicago, some of these places where they allow Portland, where they allow these criminals to run around freely and disguise it as something that they have the right to under our Constitution. And I get upset with it, and I get mad because you see a bunch of people doing it the right way, and then you got a bunch of people doing it the wrong way, and then you got these jokers helping them to reclassify and reshape the face of the country and what it is. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, whether you're black, white, Spanish, doesn't matter, and you're listening to this. You need to get over the fact that white people created the Constitution. Y'all need to get over the fact that the founding fathers were white, that they were Anglo-Saxon, that they came from the UK, that they came from Europe, and they did that. None of your asses did that. Your forefathers didn't come. They were dragged here. If you're a black, your forefathers were dragged here. If you're Chinese, your forefathers came here to actually work freely on a railroad. Mexican, Spanish, the same thing. Get over that. Because in the course of that, the changes that have taken place since they started this country and put this Constitution into place, and people aren't going to like this. I know y'all not going to like this. Some of y'all going to listen to this and replay and be like, let me turn him off. You probably should, because that's the fact. And it's been good immigration, people that came here and conformed to the society and said, hey, we need to change this law because, yes, we need to adjust this right here. We don't need to throw out the system. We just need to make this slight adjustment. We need to recognize that free slaves, their children they're having children, and they are legitimately American citizens because we dragged them here and we brought them here. And let's respect that and make them American citizens. Yes, yes, yes. That's a good thing. That is a great thing. That is a great thing. But when you turn around and you say that we need to bring Sharia law, when you turn around and we say we need to have concepts and ideologies that clearly conflict with the Western way of thinking, that's okay. We need to have that in order to make America great. Damn, no. Y'all behinds came here because America was great and y'all recognized the opportunity to grow and to have liberty, to have freedom, to raise your family, to build businesses, to worship freely. Just come and do that. Just come and do that. Don't come and try to shift and change the whole pot. That's why I say they not American. They don't want to be Americans. They don't like the concept of America. They don't like it. They don't like it. And this is an example of it. It's no way you're going to tell me that this is legit. You're teaching them how to evade federal officers and telling them the rights that they have against federal officers. Why aren't you telling them that if they're here illegally, they're going to have a hell of a time? Why? Y'all need to leave illegally. Why? They won't do that. Because when you do that, you take away his base. You take away the base that he's trying to mold to keep and maintain power. Yeah.
That looks like this. If ICE does not have a judicial warrant signed by a judge, you have the right to say, I do not consent to entry, and the right to keep your door closed. Sometimes ICE will show you paperwork that looks like this and tell you that they have the right to arrest you. That is false. ICE is legally allowed to lie to you, but you have the right to remain silent.
I haven't seen one document right now, one video which somebody said, hey, I got a fraudulent letter, or somebody had a fraudulent letter from ICE and they arrested him, and this is what the letter looked like. if it was happening, don't you not think that it would be on social media and people would be showing those letters and it'll be going viral and saying, yeah, they're creating fraudulent letters and warrants and documentation to get entry in? What y'all and the people that's protecting them, the people that are American citizens that are protecting them, you guys are also very liable. I don't care if you think or you want to say you're a citizen and you think this is right. No, you're a clown. You're a clown. Because it doesn't become an issue until it comes and knocks on your door. And you think it's cool until you are the victim of that illegal charge that you're leading. You think it is.
Being detained, you may always ask, am I free to go? Repeatedly until they answer you. You are legally allowed to film ICE as long as you do not interfere with an arrest. It is important to remain calm during any interaction with ICE or law enforcement. Do not impede their investigation, resist arrest, or run. One last thing. New Yorkers have a constitutional right to protest. And when I'm mayor, we will protect that right. New York will always welcome immigrants.
Oh, damn. What he's saying is going to be protesting in the streets when he's a mayor. I want to see how he responds to protesting that damages and destroys people's property because they're protesting against the federal government. I can clearly see this as being, you seen that show Walking Dead, where New York becomes full of zombies and it's just chaotic? I can see that already. I can see it already.
And I will fight each and every day to protect, support, and celebrate our immigrant brothers and sisters.
And that was the video posted to social media from New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. Again, his comments came a week after demonstrators gathered as ICE attempted to detain people on Canal Street near New York's Chinatown. A similar immigration sweep in the same neighborhood last October was also met with several protests. Also, just a reminder that weeks earlier, Mamdani had a surprisingly cordial Oval Office meeting with President Trump, whose administration is carrying out federal immigration enforcement operations in several U.S. cities, most recently in New Orleans.
Dang. Whoa. Man, yo, pray for America, yo. This is no joke. This is no joke. This thing is coming. It's coming really, really fast. Really fast. Man, the economy's going crazy. And there are stores in Atlanta that are really shutting down. There's no way to hide this or even to put it. The more these stores shut down, the less jobs that are out there. And in some cases, it even affects the people that live in that area, because if you've got places where people shop to get food, you got to travel out further to get it.
Tonight, another business is leaving Atlantic Station. We just learned Banana Republic will be closing its doors.
And this closure comes days after the announcement of some closures of DSW Shoes and Publix. Atlanta News First senior reporter Patrick Quinn live outside Atlantic Station tonight. So Patrick, some people who live there say they need the city to step in on this.
We got Publix, DSW Shoes, and now Banana Republic all closing here at Atlantic Station. Is this just your typical economic turnover, businesses coming and going, or for some who live here, they fear that something bigger, more concerning is looming for their live, work, play community? Nights at Atlantic Station during the holidays, you'll see a sparkling tree, ice skating, and avenues of holiday lights. But for some that live here, like Satya Ban, Atlantic Station isn't as bright as it may seem.
And we're just supposed to look at the fancy lights and like pretend like everything is okay.
Right now, the list of Atlantic Station businesses closing is growing longer.
Wow. I remember when all these stores were all full. They were all full. And when that Publix goes right there, which is the only place. And if you don't know what Atlantic Station is, you're probably watching this like, okay, Atlanta, what's Atlantic Station? Atlantic Station is a commercial development that literally sits just about in that Midtown area in Atlanta. And at one point in time, this was like I think like a railroad train station, some type of deal. A company came in, boarded up. You've got 12, you've got all these, you got 2 or 3 high rises that are right there. And you got it's like a live, work, play community. We used to have a bowling alley right over there. What else, man? You had so many different stores that were there. Atlantic Station used to be the place when it first came where you can actually go grab a drink at one of the nice bars that were rooftop bar. You could overlook and see the city. You could see the skyline. You could see the horrible traffic. But you would be enjoying it with your drink, overlooking it. That development slowly started to crumble because they started to build other buildings that blocked out the view from the skyline. Everybody was like, okay, cool. All right, we got it. You've got a hotel / residential building that's over there, okay, for condos. And I've been into those condos, beautiful places. But it started to become more and more hood, okay, no lie. They started to have a lot of issues in Atlantic Station. You had the YNs running around robbing and attacking people. You had all kinds of stuff taking place because underneath the ground here, you see that pavement right underneath there, that's parking for all of this Atlantic Station area. So you have people getting stuck up down there in those parking lots and so forth. So slowly they started to take back Atlantic Station. They put rules in place, put curfews in line, and the businesses were starting to grow. I started to see new bowling alleys and new restaurants and new places. Now, that Public within the last week was announced that it's shutting down. You got a Target on the other side, but it's not where you can shop at. It's not predominantly produce and grocery shopping. And all of these buildings, most of these buildings here, they have people that live in them. In the condos, in the high rises, in the mid rises, you've got people that live there. And this is what sucks. This is how we know the economy is going, that slowly this is going to get more and more crazy. And I tell people, you gotta look at this. When you have commercial buildings and commercial establishments that are shutting down and they can't afford to stay, either the property management company is raising the rates and the rents, and they're raising it because when taxes go up, they gotta now offset those taxes by raising the rents on the people that live there. So that's what you're getting in Atlantic Station. You had high appreciation 2020, 2021, 2022, 2019, 2018. And now you're seeing taxes that are going up 2025. That's causing these people to get higher rents and they don't want to pay it. Publix doesn't care about you. DSW doesn't care about you. They just want to consolidate and keep their bottom line reflecting profit for their shareholders. It has nothing to do with you, but it puts Atlantic Station in a bad, precarious place. And it gets worse because remember I said those are condos that are there that oversee the city and the skyline. Who's going to want to buy a condo for sale where you can't get to a grocery store? You buy it and it used to be a grocery store below you, but it's no longer there. Crazy, right?
We just learned Banana Republic will close by the end of January. Same with DSW. And Publix is closing its doors December 27th.
People without cars are kind of scrambling because we don't have a grocery store that's walking distance or easy to get to safely.
Atlantic Station, home to roughly 6,000 residents and 9 million annual visitors, opened in 2005, revitalized using tax revenue as a live, work, play community. That tax allocation district funding expired a year ago. And for Bond, as businesses continue to close, ownership is not keeping that all-in-one promise.
You're literally seeing a community that was in creation for 20 years crumbling in front of you. The mismanagement of Atlantic Station by Hines and Morgan Stanley that have created rent hikes and then just ignoring safety issues in Atlantic Station.
Hines is the real estate developer, Morgan Stanley a capital partner. The spokesperson for the PR firm representing Atlantic Station told me in an email all 3 closures stores are not tied to the TAD funding expiring, and said, quote, a grocer is among the priority categories we are currently pursuing as part of that process, and our specialty leasing team is evaluating short-term activations to help maintain convenience and service for residents during the transition. For Satya, who moved in 2015, his once promising home needs help.
This is a cautionary tale. Everybody looks at this and is like, none of this should be happening. What has gone wrong here? And we need to get to the bottom of it.
Now, there is a Target across the street on the back end of Atlantic Station, though residents here, they say that that is not big enough, not a big enough grocery store to serve the thousands of people that live here. We're expected to hear a lot more from the community here at Atlantic Station. They're holding a rally outside the Publix, 5 o'clock on Tuesday.
Okay, so this is the real estate game. I mean, you got to realize we already knew commercial was taking a hit. And this commercial was that, as much as they say it has nothing to do with the tax allocation benefits, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. They're doing something to raise the rent, which is forcing Publix to leave. Publix, if Publix was profitable, do you think they would shut it down? No, they wouldn't shut down a profitable location. And they know it. So Atlanta's to be at fault. The mayor's to be at fault. City council's at fault. Yeah, and the property management is piss poor.
Congratulations. Well done.
Piss poor. And it's bad. It's bad because this used to be one of the staples where people would come to visit and they'll be like, yeah, let's go to Atlantic Station. And you could walk Atlantic Station and you had some high-end stores, some mid-level stores, and just places to have fun. Now, nobody want to go down there. It's nothing to do. And it becomes more and more nothing to do. And when you have places like this with nothing to do, the criminal element, woo, boy, they're looking for a place to plant their feet. So I hope this changes. I hope they get a Kroger's or somewhere down there. And it doesn't, man, you get a Kroger's. Kroger's is cool, but man, I'm telling you, Kroger's doesn't fit that benefit. Like, it's not like Publix. It's not like Publix, you know? Yeah, what's wrong with it? But Kroger's is not like Publix. It's not. It doesn't fit the mystique of Atlantic Station and what they sold us a while back. But I'm going to stay plugged into this. To me, when this starts to happen, we always looking at the money plays, because at the end of the day, if you got a condo up there, and they had condos, man, I've been in the condos over there at Atlantic Station, 500,000, $1 million, 800,000. When the market was crashing, if you bought a condo over there, man, you came up like, in 05, he said they started building in 05. I saw deals upon deals 07, 08, 09 over there. Those same deals are coming because people aren't going to be buying. They're not going to be buying. So if you're trying to get a good spot, this might be a good place to look at because, dude, at the end of the day, until they get that shit in order, Atlanta is going to be crazy, baby. It's going to be crazy. Now we dealing with Atlanta. All right, I'm going to cover this one last story, then I'm going to be out for the day because Atlanta, oh my gosh, Atlanta, bro. Please take the time, like, subscribe, follow, look for the new updates. I'm always dropping this stuff. Boy, I tell you, I had friends that bought houses in 2008, 2007. Nobody was talking about this. One reason I talk about shit that doesn't seem like it's connected to real estate is simply because it's really connected to real estate. It really is connected. Nobody was talking about it. Nobody said nothing about it. I had a buddy, and this shit this ticked me. I was like, damn. He bought 2 or 3 houses, I think 3 of them, along the same block corridor in Atlanta, paid $5K for them I think he bought it like in 07, 08. I start working at his brokerage. He's the broker. I got my broker's license. I just wanted to park it there. He's an investor. Cool to be a part of an investing team. I can still do my own thing. And then I bought him I said, dude, check this deal out. It's a duplex. We meet at the duplex and he points out, yeah, that's one I bought for $5K right across. I'm like, damn. But nobody was out there. If you're not involved in it, you will never see or never understand or know that condos in Atlantic Station are about to drop drastically in price if they haven't started dropping. So if you want a condo, that's a place to go to. Will they be 08, 09 numbers? I don't know. I can't say that. But damn, I know they're going to be cheap. They know they're going to be cheap, you know? I know they're going to be cheap. They're going to be cheaper than they have been in the last few years. Probably not as cheap as they are down there. Probably not as cheap. But that's what you get. Because when you don't stay in the know, shit like that happens. And people are going to get rich. What's also going to happen over there, the commercial plays are going to be insane. Commercial is already getting it more insane because nobody's figuring out how to actually repurpose some of these buildings. Some people have a good idea, like we saw with Pont City Market. And if you know what Pont City Market is really an old railroad station that was converted, and now it's probably one of the best places to go down and get some food and shop in Atlanta, close to being downtown. But if you own in that Pont City area, when it was crap and nobody wanted to walk through that railroad area where you can get mugged easily, they used to call it Killer Kroger. Look, I'm giving more info than what it's supposed to be, right? Killer Kroger, because the Kroger right over there, people get stuck up and killed at, right? I'm telling you. So the money plays are going to be money plays in LA. I mean, it's going to be some solid ones that's come in play, but some people won't get it. Some people won't. You got it. You can't just look at where's the best place. You got to look at this is a holistic thing. It's a holistic thing. Holistic. Now, if you come to Atlanta, you got to realize at the same time that Atlanta's tipping culture is crap. It's crap. And I've seen it, and it's becoming worse and worse and worse. We went out this weekend, and the waitress was smiling at me. And my wife was like, does she look at everybody in her eyes? It was at a cigar spot, you know? Time is everything, baby. You're right about it. And it was at a cigar spot. So we had a cigar spot, live music. Then comes in the DJ. Cool spot to chill at. And the waitress, she's smiling. Got the lip gloss on. Cute looking girl. Body banging. My wife's like, and my wife is banging also. She like, why she smiling? I mean, she looks at everybody like that. I'm like, yeah, she looks at everybody like that. And she was looking at everybody like that. And then I realized it's about the tip. Because they don't have a mandatory tip there. They don't have it. And when you don't have mandatory tips, your waitresses, your servers are going to be more active. And there is a point now we got to realize that you guys want to keep people on staff, but you don't want to find good people to stay on staff. You just don't want to. You want to make it easy for them. You want to rob the customers with 18, 20% hikes in their taxes. In their tips. Because of that, you just want them to be forced to tip. And you think that that's going to force them to come back? No, we come back for good ambiance, good service, good food. We like that, a good experience. It's not good when we got to tip you and you take your money out at the top. Now, this is an epidemic in Atlanta. And I say it because we have doggone shitty institutions and restaurants.
Congratulations. Well done.
I call them institutions. Yeah, they're institutions. Restaurants. They're shitty. The food is okay, marginal. And then I got to deal with an attitude. Why do I want to deal? Why? Why do I have to deal with an attitude? This is real talk.
Tipping culture has really gotten out of hand, and let me just tell you about the experience I had a couple days ago. I do want to say this is not a reflection on Waffle House as a company. I always have generally good experiences at a Waffle House, especially in Georgia where I live. So this is not a reflection on Waffle House. This is specifically on the employees. When me and my boyfriend, we order from Waffle House, and mind you, Waffle House is already expensive, especially nowadays. You can literally, your $12 meal at Waffle House with to-go fees and all that stuff can literally end up being $20, especially here in Atlanta. So the cheapest way to get Waffle House is to order it online, because there's way less fees. There's no to-go fee. You don't have to worry about like tipping and all that stuff. So I ordered online. Mind you, I just get the 2-egg breakfast. It doesn't even come with a meal, a waffle, or nothing. Just literally eggs, hash browns, and toast. So I order that, and then the total is like $9. My boyfriend goes to pick it up, and then he calls me, and he's like, tell me why the lady was like, oh, next time leave a tip. And I'm like, that's a weird thing to say. So I'm already off put by that. So he gets back to where we're staying, and he shows me that this lady circled the tip area. Let me show y'all. She literally took her time to circle the tip on a $9 online order. Not a to-go order, not an in-store order, not like I didn't sit down to eat or nothing. An online order. The only reason I wanted a refund is because I didn't trust the food anymore after she acted like that towards my food. Like, you're gonna heckle me for a tip. And then mind you, as my boyfriend was walking out, she was like, karma's up. So I'm like, I definitely don't want it anymore. Like, you heckled my boyfriend about the tip, circled the 0 tip, and told me karma's up. I don't want it anymore. Give me a refund. So he goes back and tries to get a refund. They're like, oh, well, you have to do it online. So that's why we ended up calling corporate. And thankfully, the guy on corporate was super nice. And he was like, yeah, that's ridiculous. And he ended up telling us his own experience about valet here in Atlanta.
How do you call the corporate for the office, for the restaurant, and then they start telling you about their experiences at the restaurant? That's how you know we're out of pocket in this city. I'm telling you, Atlanta's not what it used to be. I don't think it would ever get back to the way that it used to be, especially just with the numbers and with the people and with the influx of companies coming down here and people thinking that everybody's rich and everybody's a superstar.
Congratulations. Well done.
You're screwing up the city, and you're screwing it up more and more. Worse and worse.
Hi, I'm JoJo at King of Diamonds with Strip Club Confessionals, and I'm here with Melanie. All right, so Mel, what's your biggest pet peeve of a customer in strip club? When these niggas don't tip. Like,
don't come here broke to the club when they don't tip. If you got to do a video talking about them not tipping, they don't need to tip. Because when the service is banging, we would tip. Now, I'm going to tell you, I tip regardless of if it's good or bad, because people just go through stuff. Honestly, I'm not going. People are going, when a waitress is mad and she's angry, I know she's having a bad day. Something's taking place. And out of generosity, what God put on my heart, I'm just going to tip. I'm going to tip you something. You know, I'm going to tip because you're having a bad day and your attitude is tied to your money. That's why you're acting like that. But this, bro.
Come in the strip club, and you know it's the strip club, and then you don't got no money to tip. Like, I don't understand that. Stay home in the most respectful way. But I mean, you can still come, but just make sure your money is right. Like, just make sure your money is right before you come in the strip club. It's just, don't come to the club if you ain't tipping. We be playing our part, we do our part, so we the entertainment. You might as well just tip. Like.
I can tell your attitude ain't even all that, right? I can tell you got a bad attitude. I can tell I'm not tipping because you're telling me I need to tip at the strip club. No. At the strip club, I don't need to tip. You need to perform, then you get a tip. Okay?
Simple. Tip your girls. Heavy.
All right, Atlanta, y'all took this shit to a whole nother level. I'm a homebody of Rip, but y'all making me want to stay inside even more because now they got this whole automatic 20% no matter what. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Even sitting at the bars, automatic 20%? Like, even if I get a shit waitress or a shit waiter that don't do their job, you know what I'm saying? I still got to give them 20%. The tip should be based on how I feel about your service at the end of the day. But you making me get it? See, man, nah. See, they tripping now. And if what if it's 5, 6 of us and you just come back and just, since they got 20% off rip, they know that. They come, hey, your water, your drinks, your food, whatever. I'll come back later, get your check. And you'll never see him again. And they getting 20%. 5, 6 of us, bill come out $300-$400. You getting a good grip. And you ain't do shit. Nah, fuck that. This is why I stay in the crib. I drink in the crib, I eat in the crib, because it's too much money to go outside. Fuck this. Not gonna happen.
And that's why I stay in the crib too. Because this is crazy. It's insane what they're doing.
Atlanta, I'm sick of y'all. I'm gonna just say this. If you bold enough to put 18% gratuity on my ticket before you bring it to my table, just come on outside, because clearly you want to fist fight. That don't make no sense. Gratuity is for large parties, not for two homegirls having drinks and taquitos at 3 o'clock in the daytime. And why is your music so loud in here? I can't hear myself think. Where is my water? But you want to put 18% gratuity on the ticket. I ain't even ordered everything I'm going to order yet. What if I want a dessert? But you know what? 18% is all you'll get. And I don't care. Y'all can be mad at me. Cheap, cheap, cheap. I'm sorry. It's birds in here. I don't care. Lock me up, throw away the key, whatever you got to do, ban me from your restaurant. 18% gratuity is way too much to be just voluntarily adding on to people's tickets if it ain't no large party. And I've waited tables before, so spare me. I know y'all managers and y'all bosses and y'all companies and restaurants ain't paying y'all. Not my problem. Y'all need to start a union. Pick it. Form a line. Do something. Fight back.
Sis ain't wrong, right? Fight back. Do something.
You know what? Tip culture sucks. Tip culture really sucks right now. And I'm not talking about just here in the amazing city of Atlanta. I'm talking about everywhere, man. Tip culture absolutely sucks. Let me explain. So I go to my semi-favorite spots, get a little lunch, nothing special, not anything expensive. I order it to go. And as I'm paying for it, the lady flips the machine around, and the machine is asking how much I want to tip. My question is, why am I tipping for a meal that I had to come to pick up, and I'm taking it away with me?
I don't have any words to express how I feel about that. When I order DoorDash and I go and I pick it up, DoorDash is not charging me, but you guys are asking me to tip you for picking up my own shit? Come on, man.
What have you done that deserves a tip? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I'm tipping to go? I'm never doing that. You are literally selling me a product and I'm paying for it. I'm coming to pick it up. I'm doing all the work. If anything, discount me for coming to pick it up. Tip culture sucks, man. Or I'm gonna tell you what's just as bad, if not worse. Rounding up. Rounding up? Are y'all serious? Even like grocery stores. You wanna round it up to help this foundation? Nah, help me with these high ass prices. Help me.
I'm cool with the roundup because that's great opportunities for me to give. I am a giver. I don't try to hold back from people at all. I like to give because I do believe in the principle of actually giving, and it helps people. But damn, when you're forced to give, to me is no different than going to one of those churches and they tell you, and they lock the door and they tell you, hey, God is telling me that you got to get that $1,000 from each person up in here. $500, God telling me $500 from each person up in here. That's no different. Like, you're jamming me for dough, bro. Like, no. Somebody who gives grudgingly, no blessings work for me. Things don't work for me when I give grudgingly. And it's not going to work for you also because you're taking it from me grudgingly. So it's a lot of conflict that's in place right there. There's got to be a place where we're doing this generously. And the only way I find we do this generously is if you do what you're supposed to do. If you do what you're supposed to do, you will always get a generous giving from me. Now, there are people out here that don't matter. It doesn't matter how nice you are. If you're not, it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how much you serve them. In their mind, they already have a preconceived amount. And I understand that. You have to live with that and understand you're in a service-based business and stuff like that is going to happen. If you don't like that, you get out of the business. You do something different. You don't need to be a waitress. You might need to go and drive packages for Amazon. You might need to get another trade to do something like that because you're concerned about your money. And if you're so concerned about that and that you don't see it balancing out, you need to change industries. You do need to. And stop making it miserable for everybody else that's here. And we're just sitting down to eat dinner. That's it. We're sitting down to have some lunch. We don't want to be bombarded with you giving us a mandatory 20%. Horrible.
I promised I was going to keep everything honest and true, so here's my story about tipping, part 2. So my fiance and I had some family coming into town from Canada, and we said we haven't tried this restaurant quite yet. So we decided that we were going to treat everybody. It was going to be about 8 of us total. The owner even wanted me to sign an event form, and with the pre-authorization, I thought that was kind of excessive for a party at 8, but I agreed to it. We were putting everything on one tab anyway. But this restaurant here, our server was so nice to us that when we asked for carafes of sangria and mimosa, and we didn't even get glasses when they brought the carafes to the table, or a cup for that matter, he was so generous that he went to the back for 15 minutes, and when we could not find out where our server was, I went to the bar to go ask for the glasses myself. I look up and I see our server taking selfies and dancing and doing all this extracurricular activity. The bartender refused to give me the glasses personally. The glasses finally made it to the table, and they were dirty. But you've earned that 20% that they automatically put on that bill. No.
Nope.
I'm on the customer.
You didn't earn it and never will. And I'm tired of seeing that too. Go into restaurants. We're hanging out. The DJ's popping. I don't want my server dancing with somebody else or just dropping it like on the dance floor when she's supposed to be serving me. Okay, and I'm waiting for either my chicken or either my burger, and it happens. It happens more than you even recognize. This is Atlanta.
How much was she supposed to tip? Did y'all hear about the story? Lady in Atlanta goes to this restaurant. As she's walking out, leaving the restaurant, the manager comes to her, and the manager is like, "Hey, Miss Mamas, the next time you come back, Miss Mamas, you better not tip $7." Okay.
Wow. So that's the Houston's off of West Paces Fair. Oh, I'm not going there. Matter of fact, I don't even go to Houston's. It's not even some of y'all like these low budget, whack behind, no good chef having restaurants with bland food. You better off going. It's so many other places you can go to. Houston's, y'all probably gonna hate me for that because I know that's Black Hood staples. Y'all like Houston's.
Okay, please tip at least 20%. So the lady goes, I tipped $7 because of the service. And the manager is like, well, if that's the case, just don't come back. I'm no Help Me Howard or Judge Judy, but this sounds like some type of lawsuit because the last time I checked, tips weren't mandatory in the United States of America. Tips aren't mandatory. It's a courtesy. If she gave...
And that, I think there needs to be... Nobody's actually sued one of these places first. Since it's not mandatory, I wonder if there's a lawsuit out there with somebody suing a restaurant for putting mandatory 20%, 18% on their gratuity on their tip. I wonder if there is. Because if there isn't, I think I just got like a massive lawsuit type of case for Morgan and Morgan. Well, Morgan and Morgan handles slipping and fall. One of you guys out of here, one of y'all one call, that's all. One of y'all need to take up the banner and go ahead and do this because it'll straighten out restaurants. Yeah, it'll put some businesses out of play, but it'll keep the right ones with the right people in place, and they'll make a lot of money, and we'll have better service.
Congratulations, well done.
That's just my take on it.
$0 tip, it would have been a little different, but she gave y'all $7. Said her tip was based on the service, so I'm assuming that the service was not good. You only give 20% if the service is good. And what surprised me about this is a lot of people, they're on the manager's side. Somebody wrote, More managers need to tell people this. Somebody else wrote 7 is crazy. Shake my head. Yeah. Nah, don't come back. I know.
Y'all don't respect y'all money. They got y'all brainwashed. They got y'all locked in. And like I said again, I'm generous. I tip generously. Even if the person doesn't do their job, I still tip generously. Why? Because I know they're working on little, but I know most of the time their attitude is because they're working on little, and then they have people like that skip out on them, you know? But when you start making it mandatory, y'all need to do just a tip training class. Y'all need to do a class on customer service. They don't do enough of that. We get classes. Well, I don't get them no more. When I worked in corporate America, sales people got classes for sales. They taught you how to open the sale, how to notice the buying signals, how to ask the right questions, and how to get the sale. Why don't they have tip generating classes for waitresses? Somebody needs to do a do-it-yourself tip generating program for waitresses. Now, will they pay for the program? No, hell no, I bet they won't, because they won't believe in it. Because it starts with having a good attitude. Now, you still have the ones that have great attitudes. That's why I can't say that it's not I can't make it a general thing. Okay? But you do have the ones with bad attitudes.
Can you sit down right here for just a second? You have been such a great server today.
Oh, thank you.
And I really appreciate it. Good help is hard to find.
I know that's right, honey. I've been doing this for 2 decades long.
Oh. I got a question for you. So, off the top of your head, what would you make in a week's time as a server?
A week's time.
Just what you think.
A good $800.
That's what your tip gonna be today from me and my husband. We want to be a blessing to you because you have been a blessing to us today, and we want to take care of a week. No, ma'am, a week's work.
Thank you. I need to work done on my RV. Oh, you just. I need to get the roof done on my RV, and thank you.
Oh my God, it's yours. Thank you.
Good people need to be treated right. And I think this is a lesson also. This is 2 parts. If you're somebody you just don't tip and you never tip at all, just know that good people need to be treated right. Because at the end of the day, they send out good energy. They give good vibes. They treat you with respect. This is what we like doing. Me and my wife love doing. We love surprising people with good tips when we're sitting at a restaurant and just giving them a great tip if they have great service. Okay? And don't let nobody lie to you. Black people, yeah, some of them are the most horrible tippers. Don't get it twisted. Asian people, y'all can tip bad also. And you got a bunch of white people, my white brothers and sisters. Yeah, I'm talking to y'all too. Some of y'all got some shitty tippers in y'all, in your ethnicity also. But all in all, you can't tell me that is restricted to color, because it's not. Look at it. Look at this viral video. I'm not making this up. You see what she's doing. It's us out here that look like this, that we enjoy bringing light to people, waitresses and waiters' faces. We enjoy doing that. We enjoy doing it. Some of us enjoy doing it, whether it's good service or bad service, because we know you're running on money. That's all you're thinking about. You're there to work for, and you're thinking you're getting $4 an hour, and $200-$300, $100 tip will change your day. You like, it brightens up your day, and we want that to happen. We want to do that. But at the end of the day, we don't see enough of this because we don't see the good service part of it. Nobody's highlighting it. And I just had to throw it in here just to highlight that there are good people out here doing good work and in the service-based business. And there are people out here that may not look like you. And we want to tip and say thank you for your hard work, because we know the economy is crap and we know that people are going through a bunch of stuff. And if we can do a little something to bring in a little bit of light, we want to be part of that.
Y'all made me cry.
Oh, wow. You're doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
You get such bad service all the time that I want to show that there are good service out there.
And she's not wrong. There are good service people out there. Hey guys, like, subscribe, follow for more content. We're going to continue dropping some good videos. I hope that this blesses somebody. And more importantly, listen, remember, God loves you, man. You're uniquely made. Okay? Don't let nobody tell you no crap. Let nobody lie to you. Nah. And remember who you are. That's the most important thing. That's how we navigate a lot of these storms. We remember who we are in him. You know, that we're children of God, that he loves us, and all this stuff we deal with. No religion, no fluff. It's already done. You know? I see you guys on the next live stream. Keep rocking. God bless you, man.